This episode is provided by Thomas Allgaier and Freenis, based on the most relevant LinkedIn posts about go-to-market in calendar weeks 36 and 37. Freenis is a B2B market research company helping enterprises gain the customer, competitive, and positioning insights needed to drive GTM success. Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're diving headfirst into the most talked about go-to-market trends. These are straight from LinkedIn over the past couple of weeks.
Yeah, we've sifted through a lot of posts.
We really have. We've tried to pull out what's truly shifting in the B2B GTM landscape for you.
That's right. Our goal today is pretty simple. Cut through all the noise and just deliver the most critical insights. Whether it's AI, which is huge right now, or maybe rethinking GTM strategy itself.
Or the data foundations, which are always crucial.
Always. And how we actually empower sales teams effectively. So we're looking at, solid frameworks, actionable stuff, not just passing fads.
All right, let's jump right in. Because the big one, the thing at the top of almost everyone's feed, seems to be AI's game-changing impact on GTM. And it's moved beyond just tools, hasn't it?
Oh, definitely. It's not just, hey, let's plug in an AI tool. Teams are really starting to see AI as more of a core operating model.
Right. And the expectations, they're massive. People are looking for serious conversion uplift, cost cuts, and those, compounding returns from feedback loops. Dale Swazinski mentioned some pretty staggering numbers.
Yeah, he did. Like advanced AI stages potentially unlocking 7x conversion boosts and an 8 to 12x ROI. That's not just tweaking things, it's transformation.
It really is. So how does that change the actual journey for the buyer?
Well, that's the fascinating part, is shifting the whole buyer journey concept.
Right.
We're moving away from those static funnel stages towards something much more dynamic, context aware, driven by continuous inference and micro-personalization. Yarn Hochman and Sangram Vajra both pointed out that really traditional GTM is already kind of outdated.
How so?
Because buyers, they're already interacting with LLM's large language models way before they even think about visiting your website.
So they're getting answers, forming ideas.
Exactly. Yeah. Doing deep research before you even know they're in the market. That just fundamentally changes the whole game, doesn't it? How you even start the conversation.
It really does. So if they're already that far along, how do we make sure our AI, our outreach, is actually adding value, building trust, not just more spam?
That's the key question. And leaders are definitely cautioning that the big AI benefits, they really track with maturity. You need the foundations.
So less about shiny pilots, more about data readiness, prompt standards.
Precisely. And Cyril made a great point too, reminding us AI can't and probably shouldn't fully replace the human element. He's advocating for human-guided AI.
Especially for those critical moments, right? Building trust, closing deals. It's about making humans better, not replacing them.
Spot on. Augmentation, not replacement. And that brings up another point. How do you get that crucial human feedback? How do you iterate effectively when AI is doing so much?
Yeah, how do you test things?
Well, Mikhail Reister talked about this really cool concept, AI digital twins.
Digital twins? Like of customers?
Exactly. Imagine hyper-realistic AI versions of your key customers, your stakeholders. You can use them to pressure test campaigns, generate ideas, find blind spots before you launch.
Wow. So you could potentially avoid a lot of wasted effort?
That's the idea. Michelle says it dramatically cuts iteration cycles, eliminates campaign waste, but you're simulating real responses. She also mentioned Ryan Staley's multi-brain system getting simultaneous expert analysis from 5 different viewpoints, finds blind spots fast.
Okay, that sounds incredibly useful, almost like a virtual focus group on demand.
And we're seeing practical tools emerge too, right?
Definitely. Kelly Ward and Divyanshi Sharma shared news about Apollo's GTM AI assistant, automating prospecting, research list building, even writing messages.
And Sarah McNamara introduced ClayGent Navigator. That's the one that interacts with websites like a human for deeper research.
Yeah, the level of autonomy is getting pretty impressive, which leads to AI agents.
Right. Sophie Bonacisi, Xander Pease, Ankit Singh, we're talking about those. Agents that can engage, qualify, maybe even convert leads. Yeah, autonomously. Taking a lot off the plates of sales teams. But there's a counterpoint. Ahmed Datu raised what he called a controversial opinion.
Oh, what's that?
He's questioning if some of these GTM tools, the ones needing specialized GTM engineers just to get value, are they actually overcomplicating things?
Interesting point. Are we creating new bottlenecks?
Potentially. He argues marketers should focus on campaigns, creativity, not debugging APIs or complex setups. He's pushing for simplicity.
That tension, complexity versus simplicity, especially with roles like the GTM engineer, it really gets to the heart of how we adapt, doesn't it?
It does. Are we just bolting new tech onto old, broken processes? Or truly rethinking the whole approach?
Which actually is a perfect lead into our next theme. Reevaluating GTM strategy and execution for the modern era. Because it seems clear, those traditional playbooks, they're struggling.
They really are. Sangram Vajre and Bernardo Madrado both hammered this point. Agility over static cycles. Sangram said something like 90% of companies still use the old GTM playbook, 6-month planning cycles.
Which feels ancient in this AI era. Agility wins.
Absolutely. And connecting that to strategy, Charles or Chip Royce argued that trying to be everything to everyone, that horizontal GTM, is often just incredibly costly.
Burns through cash fast.
Right. He makes a strong case for focusing hard on a specific niche. Command premium pricing, laser focus your marketing, build something indispensable for that group.
Makes sense. Solve one problem really well instead of many problems poorly, especially when budgets are tight. Heidi Hattendorf had some practical advice, too, on pipeline velocity.
Yeah, standardizing GTM plays, adjusting them, tracking metrics closely to stop deals stalling. Because stalled deals are dead deals, basically.
And Todd Buslin mentioned Tony Holbein's great pipeline starvation. That phrase really stuck with me.
Me too. It highlights the broken math in B2B sales right now. Todd's point was, we need to spend money completely differently.
So how do we spend differently? Where do we focus?
Well, that brings us to the age of signals. Masha Vojay, Florent Tatulia, Alon Evans, they're all talking about this.
Focusing on the buyers who are actually ready, right? That mythical 3%.
Exactly. By reading the signals, not just generic stuff, but specifics. Funding rounds, new exec hires, even competitor uninstalls.
Things that indicate real intent.
Precisely. Florent Tatulia even talked about buying signal velocity. Like 5 signals this week means way more than 50 spread over 6 months.
The momentum matters. That's smart.
Yeah. And Alon even added that combining signals tells a much stronger story. Helps you make strategic decisions, not just react to single alerts. Build a narrative around the intent.
Okay, so we're using signals to focus. What about the GTM motions themselves? Doester had thoughts on that.
He did. Reevaluating no touch, low touch, high touch, etc. But crucially against today's economics, not last year's.
Because what worked before might just be too expensive now.
Exactly. You might need to adapt pricing or even downgrade motions to make the math work. The old assumptions just don't hold.
And where are deals actually happening? Kyle Edmund Hayes had a strong take on marketplaces.
Yeah, a marketplace first GTM. His point is enterprise buyers. They're already using hyperscaler marketplaces like AWS or Azure.
Yeah.
A lot.
So it's not just another channel, it's becoming a primary engine.
That's his argument. Pricing, deal flow, RevOps, sales comp.
Yeah.
It all needs to align with that marketplace reality, not treat it as an add-on.
That's a big shift. And speaking of shifts, that GTM engineer role we mentioned, it seems to be popping up more.
It does. S.M. Sleeman, Matthew Iavani, Alex Lindell, Austin Myers. They're seeing it grow in LinkedIn data. The people building the scalable systems.
The architects making the signals and AI actually work.
Right. But Kyle Poyer offered a bit of caution. Despite the buzz, maybe it's not as widespread in-house as we think. A lot are still in agencies or consulting.
Good distinction. Something to consider if you're thinking about building that capability internally.
Definitely.
So, okay, AI is changing what's possible. Strategy needs rethinking. But none of it works without solid foundations, right?
Which brings us to the critical role of data and RevOps foundations. Absolutely non-negotiable. You see platforms like HubSpot, Salesforce mentioned constantly. But the key isn't just having the platform.
It's the process quality, expert setup.
Exactly. Process quality trumps feature count, doing the basics brilliantly. And it connects directly to growth. Forecast credibility, for example.
How so?
It's seen as a growth enabler, built on a single source of truth in CRM, regular inspections, objective stage definitions. Leaders are choosing instrumentation over intuition.
Meaning clear lead sources, clear conversion points, so you can act fast if something's off.
Precisely. And Dr. Nicole Wiebernight put it bluntly, AI is only as good as the data underneath it. Without that trust, she said, even the smartest AI becomes just another unused tool.
Highlights that unsexy but vital data hygiene work.
Totally. It's crucial, especially globally. Everett Berry shared how Clay tackled global GTM data quality navigating regulations customs. Complex stuff.
But there's a dark side too, right? David Walker Dobson mentioned AI slop.
Yeah, the flood of low-quality automated spam. He argues GTM engineering, ironically, contributed to it. But the solution isn't just more automation. It's timing derived from good data, precision, not just volume.
Makes sense. And that brings us back to the GTM engineer role, as S.M. Slyman described it.
Right. They build that foundation, keep CRM clean, enrich customer data, design, and test campaigns. It all hinges on robust data. Sophie Buonasisi called data the new GTM operating system.
Nice. Okay, so foundations are solid. Let's shift to the front line, sales enablement and deepening customer relationships. What's changing here?
Well, playbooks are evolving, less generic scripting.
More role-specific workflows, focused on discovery, qualification, actual pipeline movement.
Exactly. Quality interactions, not just hitting activity numbers. And think about warming up prospects. Alan Rushtain talked about social warming.
Social warming, what's that exactly?
It's like a repeatable routine before outreach. Building familiarity so the prospect kind of knows who you are before your message even lands. Increases reply rates.
So consistent, valuable engagement first, not just a cold email out of the blue.
Right. Presence and perceived value first. And managers are focusing less on just throwing tools at problems.
And more on coaching, accountability, basic sales hygiene.
Yep. Rigorous meeting prep, diligent follow-up, fundamentals done well.
And really understanding the customer's perspective, right? Roxana Khalid's survey findings were interesting.
Very. The pricing paradox and privacy contradiction. Deals stalling on price or privacy, even after initial tests, showed willingness to pay.
So there's a gap between what people say and what they do when friction hits.
Exactly. You need to understand the real trade-offs, the perceived value, not just abstract agreement.
Which circles back to Todd Busler and Tony Holbein's pipeline starvation again. We need genuinely new creative playbooks because the old outbound is just saturated.
Totally saturated. We need different approaches.
Yeah.
Alex Abbott made a related point about team visibility and influence. It's not just about generating more leads.
It's about relevance, trust, familiarity built before the sales motion.
Precisely. Which ties into that idea of permissionless value. Sonke van Jacob, James Kaikis on Jordan Crawford's ideas. Deliver value consistently first. Insights, education. Then ask for the meeting. Earn the attention.
Okay, final theme. Let's zoom out a bit to foundational GTM wisdom. Even with all this change, some core principles hold true, maybe more than ever.
Definitely. Like product stories focus on buyer outcomes, adoption paths, not just feature lists.
And campaigns shifting to iterative experiments. Validate the narrative before big spends. Lean and fast.
Right. And content proving its value when it actually sparks conversations with target accounts. Relevance over sheer reach.
Brand building as pipeline groundwork, too, warming things up for future outreach.
Exactly. And Alexander Essner's 10 most common sauce GTM myths. These are gold.
Yeah, let's unpack a couple. Myth, #1, broad ICPs like 100 million revenue. What's his take?
He says no. Start super specific with early customers, let the ICP evolve organically, hyper-focus.
And myth, #3, hiring a sales agency fixes everything.
Nope. Founders have to build the initial playbook themselves. An agency optimizes. They don't invent market fit for you. You need that core understanding first.
That really underscores the need for hands-on strategy. What about losing deals on price? Myth, #7.
He argues it's almost always a value proposition issue. If you're truly solving a critical pain, price becomes less of an obstacle, forces you to look inward.
Tough truths, but vital. And Elena Zapp brought up partner journey mapping, making partnerships actually productive.
Yeah, moving beyond just the signature, systematically defining when partners engage, what assets they use, how success is measured, operationalizing it for real impact.
Makes sense. And if anyone's wondering if GTM strategy is still important for their career.
It absolutely is. Nika Nwadialo and Dr. Angelina Promova confirmed it's a top skill on the rise for 2025. Critical for sustainable growth. It's a core competency now.
And Lauren's niece summed it up nicely, I thought. GTM engineering. It's not really about the specific tools, is it?
Not fundamentally. It's about solving GTM constraints, increasing the metrics that matter, driving revenue, the outcome, not just the tech.
So we've covered a lot. AI reshaping GTM, dynamic journeys, digital twins, AI agents. It's a huge shift. But, posts from CRNR, Angela Mullins, Liza Adams, Sam Jacobs, they all kept coming back to the human element.
Yeah, things like context, empathy, critical thinking, authenticity. AI can't replicate those.
Yeah.
Not really.
Which leads us to the provocative thought for you, the listener.
As you bring these powerful AI tools into your GTM, the big question is, How will you use AI not to replace, but to amplify your uniquely human strengths?
Right. Making your strategies more insightful, your customer interactions more empathetic, making your whole GTM more authentically impactful, something to think about. If you enjoyed this deep dive, new episodes drop every 2 weeks. Also, check out our other editions on account-based marketing, field marketing, channel marketing, MarTech, social selling, and AI in B2B marketing.
Thanks for joining us. Definitely subscribe so you don't miss our future deep dives. We'll see you next time.